Do you know what I hate the most about Ken Loach? I'll tell you at the end.
Like everything around here, Ricky, it's your choice.
Sorry We Missed You is a 2019 drama directed by Ken Loach and written by Paul Laverty. It's about a man who gets a job as a delivery driver and doesn't like it. So we'll start at the beginning. The opening scene, it starts with black, credits over black, and we hear we get a bit of an introduction to the character. You know, the traditional way we get some character development. So he explains the different jobs he's had over the years and his gripes with them all. He doesn't like having a boss on his back, and he doesn't like being around lazy people. So basically what we learn about this character from that is that he doesn't live in the real world. He's turned up to interview for this new job, presumably because he thinks he'll be self-employed, although he moans about it later on in the film. He thinks he'll be his own boss, even though he's being interviewed by a boss who's explaining the role to him. So he doesn't live in the real world, and he also is illogical. Great traits. But anyway, that's out of the way. That's the character development out of the way, because, I mean, through the rest of the film, we discover things like he has a wife and kids. He has a lot of debt, which is due to the 2008 financial crisis. He hasn't been able to pay off that debt over 11 years. We don't know why, because it's not important. I mean, details like that aren't important to a story that is just trying to sell you a political ideology. And we learn that he's a Man United supporter.
United, mate.
Because you don't need to know anything else about that. No one has any hobbies or interests outside of the political pawn position that they're in. So that's the character development for the character. He's a bloke who doesn't live in the real world. He's not very intelligent. He's quite illogical. He supports Man United. I don't know if those things are connected or not. And he's in debt. Non-specified debt from non-specific place. Something to do with something some bankers did in 2008. 11 years before this happened. It's not his fault. So that's what we learn. That's what we learn about him in the course of 90 minutes.
He is. That's your estimated time of arrival. But it's all on your gun, right? Right. You got any more questions?
No, it's fine. It's all right.
So the first scene has that bit of character development, and then we go into exposition, talking about the details of the role, the insurance, and all this boring stuff. He starts the job. He's led around and he's told more and more about the details. No one comes in and says, did you watch the game last night?" Or, how did your daughter's recital go?" None of that happens, because it's why would you need a fly on the wall film to be realistic? So no one has any personal interests. No one has any hobbies. They just turn up and talk in exposition about the role, because that's how people talk in real life. No one laughs or shares anything, or does anything sort of human at all. I work in a delivery office now. I can tell you we all do walk around stone-faced all the time, 24/7, talking about procedures and PDAs. I think my favourite bit about the workplace is the comedy villain. The comedy villain guy, the boss. The boss who he talks to in the first thing and tells him that he doesn't like bosses breathing down his neck, while this expressionless, characterless guy is staring down at him and droning on about the job. He didn't think maybe this guy's a boss. But the best thing about this boss is that he doesn't even have a first name.
You never give us an inch.
He's just called Maloney. Because you know that if you see someone that doesn't have a first name, you'll immediately jump to the sort of other people who don't have first names, like Hitler, Mao, Gaddafi, Mussolini. Maloney fits perfectly in there, doesn't he? Because that's how the world works to Ken Loach. If you aren't on the bottom rung, if you aren't on the bottom rung, then you aren't a working class hero or a working class success story. So that goes for delivery drivers, warehouse managers, traffic wardens, ticket inspectors, job centre workers, rail workers only once it's been privatised, not when it's been nationalised, because they're fine if it's been nationalised. This is how it goes. This is how the real world works. And the strangest thing about it is that it's not. Yeah, because these films are defending the working class heroes, but only if the particular role is in fashion that week. So it's delivery drivers right now, and everyone else can fuck off.
Aye. Well, I'm not happy with you lot. I'm going to be checking up on you. I'll be back.
Find any?
Yeah, I just need a passport or a driving
Come
licence.
on, mate. Give us a break.
A meeting with my wife and my son. I've got a meeting with the headmaster.
I'm shutting up now, mate.
I'm knackered already, and we're not even 10 minutes in. So there were other characters. His wife is a nurse, and she's a carer. She cares. I mean, she flat out says at one point, "I'm a carer. I care for people."
I'm really sorry. I'm a carer and I care for people, and I'm really sorry.
As if we needed that explaining to us twice. The character's a carer. That's all she needs to be. He has a son, Seb, who's a teenager, so he's going off the rails. We don't know why. It doesn't need explaining. It's just a trope, isn't it? Because it's like everything in this is a worst case scenario. It's not an everyday scenario. It's if you take this job and everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong within the space of 5 minutes, then things are going to be pretty bad. And we're supposed to be like, oh my God, that's so enlightening. Who'd have thought it? If bad things happen, that's bad.
Of my decision to exclude Sebastian for a fixed period of 14 days.
So anyway, this Seb kid is going off the rails, and he's into graffiti, and he's really passionate about it, as you can see in this scene.
He's maybe.
It's a bit deep just for a bit of graffiti.
Yeah, but it means a lot to me, you know what I mean?
It means a lot to him. Not because he's shown us that, not because we've seen how passionate he is. Look at his reply there. Can you feel the passion in that reply? It's not nothing like that needs to be shown to us. He's just told us that it means a lot to him. So it really got me right here. Like, seriously, how did we get from that?
And don't tell me to shut up. You're not talking to Jane now, you know. What are you going to do about this, anyway?
What am I going to do about it?
Yes, you.
Well, I'm not going to tell you to begin with, because it's none of your business what I do about it.
To that.
Yeah, but it means a lot to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we keep getting the characters saying this.
I just wanted things the way they were.
Tam, I just want you back the way you were.
I don't know what was life like before. We don't see it. We're just supposed to assume that things were better before he took on this job for no reason. Which by the way, he took on without giving any thought at all. Like I mentioned already, he goes into the job, signs up, says, yeah, that sounds like a great job. And then he goes there, they say, oh, do you want this van? Do you want the company van? It'll cost you 500 quid a day. Or you can buy your own van. So he goes home and sells his wife's car. And she's like, we can't sell the car. Oh, we have to. Why do you have to? There's no explanation of why. Like, all of these things are his choices, and there's no explanation of why he's made these choices, why he's turned up and not done any research, not done any prep, turned up, talked to a boss who's clearly an arsehole just from the way he looks, because he's a cartoon villain with no first name. I don't understand. So we're supposed to believe in these things that we've not even had explained. We've definitely not been shown them, and we haven't had them explained to us. It's just, I wish things were like they were before.
I haven't felt you this tense since we fell into that nest of gundogs.
You fell into that nightmare, Master, and I rescued you, remember?
Oh, yes.
And there's absolutely no difference between that scene and this scene.
I just wanted things the way they were.
Because they're both fantasy. I mean, what were things like before? Did they make some bad decisions along the way? No, they can't have, because...
It's not my fault, Abby.
No, it's not their fault. Oh, but it couldn't be to do with all the people who are ordering parcels all the time. It couldn't be to do with the amount of parcels that are increasing all the time, like as I know, because I work for Royal Mail. No, it can't be them. It's the company's fault, or it's the banker's fault, because no one has any personal responsibility. And, oh, God, I sound like a conservative. There's too much going on. Like, they're constantly contrived scenarios. Like, why... There is no reason for him to need this job. But near the beginning, he says, oh, but if I work 6 days a week for 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, then we can pay off all our debts. Well, I don't know where the debts came from. We can pay off all our debts. But then, over an unspecified time of him doing that, they still don't seem to have any money. Is he earning? Would them acknowledging that he's actually earning money while working this hard be a negative? Would that give more nuance to it? Because they kind of make out like he's not getting paid. Why? Right, so this scene where he gets robbed, who opens the back door and then stands there pissing? Like, you've got the bottle, get in the back of the van and lock the van and piss. So you're in privacy. Like, where's he gone? Is he in the city centre doing this? Did he drive somewhere so he would have privacy to do that? Who knows, because you don't get a wide shot. Because again, seeing the bigger picture would be detrimental to the film. So he just stands with the back door open and has a piss. Right, you could have got in the van and shut the door. You could have just gone and pissed on the wall and locked the door. But no, because of the story demands that every possible worst thing that could happen happens. He stands by the back door, and then someone comes and robs him. And what do they take? They take one small parcel, and then they smash his PDA, which is the most valuable thing there. And then, even though they've rushed in, grabbed all the things of no worth, smashed the most expensive thing, they also grab on someone's piss, warm piss, still warm piss.
That's your piss, thank you. I could never grab nobody's piss like that, Jack. I'd have to have some prongs and shit before I grab some piss.
Instead of the whole van that's full of things they could nick, they grab on the warm piss to pour on him and humiliate him. And that takes 2 minutes for him to do that, for him to empty all the piss out. Why would anyone do that? Why did they have was it the guy that he pissed off earlier talking about Man United? Which was probably the only genuine scene in the film, to be fair, as it actually showed that he had some passion for something and had some interest and some life outside of being a delivery driver. The job that he seemed to love at the beginning, because he didn't do any research. Fucking hell. He gets chased by a dog in this scene. Why did he not check before he went in? Oh, because it's not his fault, I forgot. You don't need personal responsibility. You don't, like... He's never been... He's been a delivery driver for how long, and he's never thought maybe there's a dog back there. That's never happened before. Because there aren't any dogs. You don't go and rattle the fence. You don't look in the back garden before you go in, especially when it's got a massive fence like that. Like I say, I do deliveries, and you can tell the signs. No one would walk through a fence that you can't see through. You do have no idea what's on the other side. It's like putting mail through when people say, "Oh, can you please put the mail all the way through?" I'm like, no, I'm not putting my hand through a door if I don't know what's on the other side. This is common sense. But because this guy's the flavour of the week as a working class hero, we don't need to talk about that. He shouldn't be getting chased by dogs in gardens with big fences. Bollocks. Oh yeah, and he becomes an alcoholic over the space of half an hour. Why? It was just like an hour and 10 into the film, and they were like, "Oh no, we haven't put this cliche in yet. Put a beer in his hand."
Shit everywhere. You've took me fucking van keys. I've nearly lost my job today.
I don't know what you're on about, man. You pisshead.
You fucking little twat.
Oh yeah, and the Maloney, the guy later on in the film, when it's come time to really drive the message of the film home, this guy who's like, "I haven't got time to talk about that. You get some work done. Get them parcels gone. What you doing stood there?" He's all of a sudden he's got time to sit down and give a half-hour monologue on how he's the perfect capitalist king. Fuck me. Yeah, and then there's the whole storyline around his van key going missing. Who buys a van that only has one key? Who is in debt and then gets in debt even further to buy a van that only has one key with it? And that, to be fair, I bought a Volkswagen once that only had one key, and I thought, oh, it's alright, I'll just get another one. But it's expensive and it's a pain in the arse, and I ended up driving a courtesy car, which wasn't a courtesy car because they charged me for it for a week, and then they tried to sell me the car after. So that is a pain in the arse. But I bought a specific car in a specific colour that was quite rare that I wanted, and I waited weeks to find it. He went to a yard full of vans and bought it and got in massive debt. I had the money to pay for my car anyway. He got in massive debt on top of massive debt to buy a van, and he didn't, when they brought it, say it's only got one key. I'm like, oh, can I just have that other one that's exactly the same that's got two keys? Why? Oh yeah, I forgot, because it's not convenient for the plot for him to just go, oh, I've got a spare. I mean, it's exhausting. It's exhausting watching this, and it's just exhausting because it could be good, and it is. There are problems. There are problems with the country, obviously, and there are real problems, and that they stem from this and they stem from that. But you can't just. It's so myopic and so simple, and it's just every time I watch them, I think they don't care anymore. They don't care about the delivery drivers. They care about Guardian readers and going to Cannes, and it just comes across that way, because this is what annoys me the most, is that I am a Labour voter, but I watch these films and I feel like a conservative. Like I said before, I think there's too many questions and there's too many things that are missed out and simplified and overblown and made melodramatic just to do this, and it's not telling a story. It's just lazy. It's lazy, and if it's just all of the worst tropes of left-wing ideology wrapped up in one 90-minute box with a red bow on top. And if I already agree with that, and I don't want to take that red bow off the top, then how is this going to reach or sway anyone outside of that? What use is it? Fucking... And then he puts that three-legged dog in every time, and it's like he's taking the piss. It's like that dog is a metaphor for what he's doing. He's making a lame dog that doesn't even have 3 legs because he can't be bothered to make a full dog. He can't be bothered to show you the full picture. It's a lame dog with 3 legs, like, oh, just whatever. Whatever, yeah. 5 stars.